yesterday marked the return of classes to primary and secondary schools in Malawi's two largest cities following a cholera outbreak that claimed hundreds of lives. The resumption comes after a cholera outbreak that killed hundreds of people, more than 700. Reports say schools in the capital, Lilongwe, and the commercial hub, Blantyre, had remained closed for at least 2 weeks after the Christmas holidays. Now, over 750 individuals have already died as a result of the cholera outbreak, which started in March of last year. Both Lilongwe and Blantyre still have significant infection rates. The health minister, Humbize Chiponda, said schools now have access to safe water and improved sanitation facilities, which will go a long way in reducing infections reported in the schools. George Mango is a Malawian journalist, and he joins us this morning for more on this report. Thanks very much for your time. Good morning to you.
A very good morning to you too.
Well, very sad story, heartbreaking, seeing the number of fatalities, from cholera in Malawi. So our hearts and, of course, condolences to you and, of course, everyone who, has had to deal with that. But can you share with us what the current situation is in the country?
In terms of statistics as to the number of people that have died as a result of this disease, is now 796. That is as of yesterday. And total cases since March last year hovers around 23,400, something thereabout. And as I speak to you now, just yesterday, the Minister of Health, Humbize Chiponda, did indicate the fact that the country has run out of doses, because it's only 40,000 doses out of 2.9 million doses which are remaining. But these 40,000 are in very critical health facilities. So which means the country has run out of doses for cholera vaccination. Suffice to say that at the same time, the minister says that they are looking up to the World Health Organization to ensure that there is, continued supply of these doses. And it's really a grave situation. Of course, the schools in Blantyre and Lilongwe cities opened yesterday after 2 weeks of proper, visitations to these schools by Minister of Health and Water. But what is very peculiar at the moment is the fact that other schools, more especially community-day secondary schools, do not even have running water, something that is sending a very bad signal because government indicated that they're trying their level best to ensure that water and then some other sanitation facilities are provided. So that's the current situation as I speak to you now.
Well, I want us to talk a little bit more about the water and sanitation problem. The way it's been described, it's a landlocked, country that, somehow, somewhere will continue to have these issues with the water in Malawi. So is the government itself doing anything to ensure that Malawi continues to have cleaner water bodies and less of these cholera outbreaks?
Of course, according to government, through the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Abidamia, she did indicate that they're trying their level best to ensure that water is provided in these schools. One thing that is very clear here, according to government, is that they have engaged different water boards. For Blantyre, they have engaged Blantyre Water Board. In Lilongwe, they have engaged Lilongwe Water Board, so that all those schools that had water disconnected, they should be reconnected. And according to the minister herself, she indicated that a number of schools have been reconnected and that they've started providing water units to the schools that were disconnected. So by virtue of government discussing or talking to water boards, it means that there could be some sanity in terms of water provision in these public schools in these cities, Lilongwe and Blantyre. But maybe the worry could be private schools. What about private schools? Because maybe some other private schools had some challenges in having water connected. Having water connected is something else, but having water running day in, day out, that is another thing that is, of worry to city residents, city institutions, be it public and private institutions. Because like in Blantyre here, where I am currently, the hub of Blantyre, water is a challenge. It's not even, I mean, we don't have water. Just this morning, I went into a bathroom, no water is running. So what about the next school or the nearest school, which is Chichiri Private, Chichiri Primary, and then Chichiri Secondary School? All these schools definitely, despite government saying that maybe they have tried their level base to ensure that water is reconnected if they were disconnected by Blantyre Water Board, but water is not running. So that's another challenge. Water is not running, though they may say they have discussed with them with Blantyre Water Board or maybe Longo Water Board, but water in other instances is not even running. Taps are running dry. So that is, posing a very, challenge in terms of dealing with the cholera outbreak here in Malawi. So two things, as I've indicated, having water reconnected and having water running. These issues are indeed a big thing that the government has to do with them now.
It's obviously a lot of infrastructural, deficits, that being played out here. That of course, I'm sure that at some point the government needs to get into a conversation on public defecation and contamination of these water bodies with feces and the likes, that lead to the spread of cholera. But I want you to once again, before you go, talk a little bit more about the lack of vaccines. How is that? How much of a problem is that? And do you expect that would be sorted out as quickly as possible?
Yes, the lack of vaccine, according to government, they say that it's going to be sorted because they have spoken to the World Health Organization and Friday UNICEF, the Save the Children, the pumping their resources, financial resources and material resources towards the cause of dealing with cholera. But for the vaccine, government is waiting from the World Health Organization because according to the organization, so this weekend, I think the country should have vaccines. But as I speak, the only vaccines that were very available, 2.9 million from World Health Organization, only 40,000 doses which have remained or which are in public, which are critical. So you can imagine for the country.
We seem to be having a problem with the connection from Malawi there, but once again, of course, it's a conversation on more than 750 fatalities from the cholera outbreak in Malawi. But of course, schools have now reopened. There needs to be more conversations with the Malawian government about clean water, about the provision of water to facilities across, not just facilities, to communities in Blantyre and Lilongwe. And of course, public defecation is something that is still seemingly common in many African countries and cities. But of course, we hope that it's the end of this conversation. Thank you very much for joining us once again. We will be speaking with you again.
Thank you very much.